Hello and welcome to Happy Horror Time.
It's happiest of happy horror times because today is
Can I introduce myself?
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally jumped the gun. Oh my god, do we need to re-record this? That was kind of funny.
Absolutely not.
Who are you?
My name's Tim Murdoch. Who are you?
I'm Matt Emmert. And
I thought your name was Michael Myers.
well, speaking of Michael Myers, today, or when you will be listening to this, is Halloween. Ding 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 ding.
That sounds like the curse of Michael Myers.
Sorry, copyright infringement.
Is it?
No. Humming, no.
Hey, do you ever hum?
Is that a dirty
Yes!
thing? Oh, no, I hum
think it's called
tunes.
humming.
What? I don't
Listen,
know.
I'm not going to talk about sex right off the bat.
That sounds like a term that my parents would use. Anyway, okay.
I doubt it.
Okay, so today, because we release episodes on Monday, today is October 31st,
Can you believe
2022, the best day of the year, Halloween.
Is it really the best?
Oh, would you go? I'm sorry, Friday the 13th is the best day
Yeah.
for Tim.
And then we get many days. You only get one.
I will say, if you haven't figured it out, we don't record live, so we are not recording on Halloween. We're recording a little bit before, but we are very excited that this is our Halloween episode. And to celebrate Halloween, we are dedicating this entire episode to
Halloween ends.
And I have a feeling a lot of people that listen to this podcast have been wondering what we think just for a couple reasons.
You know what? I don't think people give a rat.
No, I actually think so.
Kidding.
And this is why.
Because you are known for
That's what I was
being a
going to say.
Halloween fan.
Maybe me because I talk about Halloween all the time, and I feel like people who listen to this podcast are. Here's the thing. Since Halloween Ends came out, every fucking person has an opinion. Everyone and their mother.
Right. And you know what? I don't think anyone. I mean, like when we went to go see what's the movie? Smile.
What's
Everyone
a
was
movie?
like, "Damn, what do you think?" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I feel like for us, especially me, since I'm such a Halloween fan, I've been looking forward to this movie, and because people have been so vocal about this, that people
It's
may
been
have
very divisive.
Well, people may have been wondering, like, why haven't you guys come out with a review earlier? But as you probably noticed, we made October paranormal, and we wanted to do that back.
Mika!
And Katie.
He never yelled Katie.
Oh, you're right. Okay. We wanted to do those back to back, and that took up mid-October. And we thought, what better day to release our review of Halloween Ends than on Halloween? So hope it's been worth the wait because we are dedicating this entire episode. We're going to go through every bit, every trick, every treat.
Every fart.
Oh.
You caught me off guard.
Every fart. Oh, Tim.
Listen, I'm 10.
You are 10, and I thought I had a juvenile sense of
You're
humor. Mine's more
disgusting.
like dirty sex stuff. Yours is
Right.
like poops and farts.
Right. Poops and farts never gets old.
But you know what does get old, Tim?
What?
And I say that all the joke I'm about to do. You
Oh,
get it?
okay.
Yeah. No, but so I hope everyone is if you've probably seen Halloween Ends by now, and because it's Halloween, hope everyone's having a safe, happy Halloween.
And check your kids' candy. Because
Yes.
we've all seen Halloween 2, 1981.
You mean Halloween 3?
No. In Halloween 2, remember the kid walks in and he's got like a razor blade in his mouth?
Oh, I thought you were talking about 3 because of the masks killing all the kids. We just spoiled it.
Oh, God. Now no one can watch the season of The Witch.
That's true. No, what I was gonna say is that another thing that we are gonna talk about on our next episode, because I know if you listen, you probably know that I have a big Halloween party. We had been posting some stuff about the decorations. The party has not happened as of when we're recording
I've
this.
been meaning to tell you, I can't come this year.
You know what? Then this podcast is over. It's like, didn't you say one of your friends, we won't name it, like said, "Hey, are you going to Matt's party?" And you're like, yeah. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't come to the party, like,
You'd have no friends.
how dare you? No, this Halloween party, everyone knows, is the biggest thing I do, and we will talk all about it, but it just hasn't happened yet, so I can't pretend like it has. Even though,
Right.
wait, when you listen to this, it will have happened, but, like, we haven't. God, time is so confusing.
Yeah, you know what? Time is really just kind of like a guideline. It helps us out.
That's deep, Tim.
That's what people come to talk to me.
Why does time go by so quickly, though, Tim?
I don't know. I woke up the other day and I was like, F,
Why
I'm 45.
am I so old? My dad said this, and I think this is
He
true.
said,
I mean,
Tim looks old.
No, he did. Well, no, he says that every day. No,
of course.
My dad loves Tim.
Oh.
You like I just spoke about you in the
That
third
was
person.
nice.
No, what I was gonna say is not that this came from my dad, but the quote: "The youth is wasted on the young." And I remember when I was young, I heard that. I was like, "What does that mean?" But now I totally get it. Like when you're young, you don't know how cool it is
Right.
to be young and how much people who aren't young want to be young.
Right. Like, I never was like a person that woke up and was like,
God, I'm young and I love it.
right, you don't appreciate it. And all of a sudden you've got gray hair and you're just like, do I dye it? What do I do?
Do I dye because of the gray hair? God, if
Yeah.
I dye it, maybe
And
my
other
hair.
people are like, just embrace it. And I said, okay.
Well, I mean, here's the
Because, I mean,
thing.
those are the people that have to look at me.
Well, Jacob is 8.5 years younger than me, and every time I talk about, I'm now in my 40s, you're still in your 30s, and he always tries to say, like, it's really not a big deal. Like, 40s is nothing, and I'm like, you
Wait,
only say that because you're
just
not. No, I
wait.
always say you say that because you're not. It's so easy to tell other people it's not a big deal, but I was just like, yeah. But when he's in his no, I'll still be in my 40s, but only for a little bit when
Right.
he's.
You're
when he
pushing
turns-
it.
Oh my
And
God.
you know, this movie that we're about to talk about is 42 years old, 43?
The movie is from a franchise that's 44 years
And
old.
I think that's why everyone has an opinion, because you put the word ends on it. People are going to talk about it.
Well, first off, it's the Halloween franchise, and it is hugely popular. Again, it's one of I like to call it the big three of the horror franchises: Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, which no one likes, and Halloween.
Right. And then don't forget Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, definitely the
I'd
fourth.
love to throw in Leprechaun because nobody
cares about Leprechaun. Yeah, so there's that. There's the fact that this movie yet again had Jamie Lee Curtis, who is like the ultimate final girl. Laurie Strode been playing the character since 1978, and it's the last one of the trilogy. And Jamie Lee Curtis has said it's our last movie playing Laurie Strode.
I have to ask you this: how old were when the Golden Girls started in 1985? Weren't they like in their late 50s?
Yeah. So
okay,
yes, Jamie Lee Curtis could be a
Going
Golden
into this
Girl.
movie, I was like, what if it was B. Arthur?
B. Arthur now, who's dead, or B. Arthur back then?
like in 1985 to 93
well,
Golden Girls.
if B. Arthur had like her whole career been this like tough final girl,
like
yeah,
the
I could
roots
see her.
of her career,
but
like she did a
no,
horror movie.
comedic B. Arthur would be weird.
She'd be like, Michael.
She'd be like, Michael, I've got a joke for you. Ma, come in here. Sophia,
I actually
Blanche.
think B. Arthur could take him.
Well, I think B. Arthur's bigger than Michael
Right,
Myers. I don't mean
taller.
bigger like fatter. I just mean she was a tall woman.
Right.
She could take him on.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. We can get to the end when we talk about it. But
Oh,
like
let's-
when I was watching Halloween Ends, I had.
Don't you skip.
Well, I know, but I was like, okay, well then I
You
can't
didn't want
say it
B.
until the
You
end.
just were hoping it was B. Arthur in there.
No, I'm just saying, like, watching Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, oh, this is the age the Golden Girls were.
But that's what you were thinking?
Yeah,
like I didn't,
that's where my mind went.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay,
let's
so
see where your mind went.
okay,
from
so
the beginning.
just to start, this is the third chapter in the David Gordon Green trilogy, which started with Halloween 2018, which I think we both loved, right?
One question: Is there also a David Bloom? What's his first name? Jason Bloom.
Jason Blum.
Blum.
from Blumhouse.
Okay.
Yes.
I
David
get
Gordon
those
Green
two
is
guys
the
confused.
director, and Jason Blum owns Blumhouse, which is like the production company that's been doing these.
Got
but
it.
anyway, so David Gordon Green did 2018. Everyone's really excited because Jamie Lee Curtis came back. It was the new trilogy. It ignored every sweet sequel but part one. So like there was the big controversy. She's no longer his sister. And I loved 2018. I thought it took it back to basics. I loved Jamie Lee Curtis in it. I thought it was a great movie. It was strong. I loved the ending with the three women.
No,
I
thought out of the three, I thought that one was taking the whole history the most serious.
Yeah, it was just a true return to form. I loved it. It was great. And it had a great ending. And in a way, it's almost like it could have stayed there, but it made so much money. I'm talking
They're
like
like,
it became the number one slasher movie of all time in terms of box office, I
Really?
think. It had one of the biggest openings. And speaking of big openings, Tim.
Yeah.
I knew that was going. Anyway, so then they decided they're doing two more movies. And the pandemic hit. It got delayed. So then Halloween Kills came out last year.
Was it 2 years after 19, 20, 21? Oh, 3 years.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Halloween Kills came out last year, and I think, we did a whole episode last year to Halloween Kills, and I think that we were both, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we were both
You
like,
can.
wow, they took this to like Jason Voorhees, just like mass slaughter, like superhuman territory.
Jason Voorhees is more classy. I thought this was on Rob Zombie's.
It was a little Rob Zombie. I mean, the kills were so over the top brutal.
Especially the old people with the lights and the knives.
Yeah, there was a
geez.
lot of really cringeworthy dialogue, especially for Laurie, which was weird. Like Jamie Lee Curtis had to say these lines like, "We fight, we always fight," and
I felt like she was like in a Western and her house was going to be burned down.
And she was just in the hospital, so she didn't really interact with anyone except for the mob. And then they had the whole mob, and then they bring in all these amazing characters from the original.
And they get 5 minutes each.
They get 5 minutes each, and they kill all of them but Lindsay. Like literally, they kill Tommy Doyle, they kill Sheriff Brackett, they kill Nurse Marion, they kill Lonnie.
The best scene in the movie was when the nurse
with the nurse and Kyle Richards,
the girl as a nurse and a doctor.
Yes, 100%. That was a great action scene because it was a lot of action. Kyle Richards was awesome. And when he did kill them, it wasn't, hey, I'm going to beat them to death till they're in a bloody pulp and then watch them suffer. Like, nobody wants to do that. Just kill them, you know?
Right. The Rob Zombie 2, Zombie Halloween 2 was such a disaster.
Yes. And so, but the thing is, the more I watched Halloween Kills, the more I at least enjoyed seeing all the characters. Like, I think I've warmed up a little to it because
I think everything when you take a step back looks better.
And especially the first time you see something, you're like, I just remember being really shocked by Halloween Kills the first time I saw it, like not wanting to laugh at the dialogue but laughing, not wanting to think the kills were too brutal but being like, this is a little much, not wanting to think it was ridiculous for Michael to slaughter an entire fire department.
And I think Halloween Kills, because 2018 found its tone really quick.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills, the tone was so messy.
And I also think though that, and this we'll get to when we discuss Halloween Ends, but like I feel like Halloween Kills, David Gordon Green, he's one of those people that he doesn't want to just make a good movie. He needs to like make a point. Like he needs to say something, like have a message and all this. And like, I don't think that people go to horror movies to have some big metaphor or
but,
like
that
point
could be.
made.
I think that could be Jamie Lee Curtis's influence. I mean, I'm sure she's got some say on what goes on.
She's
the big
executive
screen.
producer, so yeah, she can. But I will say, 2018, like she got the script and then signed on. So meaning they already had her in it, and then she turned it into like a metaphor for the Me Too movement. But the mob violence thing, I just thought it was too much.
You didn't like when the guy jumped out the window?
Oh my god! And they spent so long with this the town chasing after this guy who's not Michael. Anyway, this isn't a review of Halloween Kills, but
I know. But
Halloween
to get there,
Ends,
sometimes you got to take a look back before you can move forward.
You're right, Tim. And the thing is that that's what we had before. And then we were promised Halloween Ends was going to be a much more grounded film, a little bit more character driven. It was 4 years later. So I really had very high expectations for this and was going in thinking, okay, it's not going to just be a brutal, ridiculous night. It's going to be like a lot more grounded. And so let's go to the opening scene of Halloween Ends, which
It's Halloween night.
Yes. So it's Halloween night 2019.
And the door opens to a cute babysitter.
Now, it's funny that you thought he was so cute. I did not think he was as cute.
Oh.
He's a good-looking guy, and he's got some great lips, I gotta say. Really great lips.
Okay, you're gross.
You're good. But, so yeah, it's Halloween night 2019, and right away he introduces this new character. His name is Corey, and he's going over to this rich people's house to babysit a kid.
Right.
And right away...
this little kid is a little...
brat.
Yes.
And right away I'm thinking, ooh, good setup. Spooky big house. It's like a house with this spiral staircase. It's a bunch of floors. He's going to be babysitting. I'm like, oh my God, this is quintessential Halloween. This is great. Michael Myers is going to come and get them.
The mom is dressed as Great Gatsby.
Yes. And then she tells Corey, the babysitter,
he's a bedwetter,
that the little kid has been having some trouble because last year, all the Michael Myers stuff, and like he's wetting the bed and he's scared of that. So again, I was like, okay, this is a good setup. It's just going to be Corey and the kid. And Corey and kid are watching a monster movie, and the kid
is the thing.
Oh yes, it's a thing. It's not a monster movie. You're right. That's why the effects. I was like, I remember
and it's
those.
John Carpenter. The irony.
Oh my God, messages. So anyway, like Corey's having a conversation with the kid. It's kind of funny because the kid says like, "Are you afraid of Michael Myers?" You know, and the Corey's like I'm 21. I'm not afraid. And Corey, are you? And the kid's like, Michael Myers doesn't kill kids. He kills babysitters, which I thought was funny because that is true.
Right.
You know.
But and it is also well, it had 4 different writers, which I see.
And
But
yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of them are gay guys, but you like obviously the last final guy, not that he's the final guy, but like it's weird to have a straight white male as the lead.
A
You know what I
lead
mean?
character?
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
like,
I think when this movie was supposed to be about Laurie Strode and Michael Myers,
right.
that's a big one.
That's what I mean. I was trying to get at that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so anyway, we get to so then suddenly the kid disappears, like goes in the other room, and Corey hears like a struggle and the kid's like screaming for help, and Corey thinks, oh my god, what happened? And he's trying to find the kid, and he goes upstairs and stairs, and he goes into this weird creepy room,
Like an attic?
it's something like that, and
Or
then
a room that's not used.
and they're really making it like, did Michael Myers get the kid? Is Michael Myers there? Blah, 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 blah. And then the kid closes the door on Corey, locks him in, and starts laughing at him. And he's just like, ha ha, got
Like,
you.
open the door!
And Corey is getting like really angry and worked up. I don't know if he was scared or if he just didn't want to be locked up. And as this is happening, the parents are coming home.
What timing?
And this is crazy. And then as the parents come in the door, Corey is like banging on the door to try to open. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Jeremy. I'm gonna kill you. And he kicks the door open. It slams into the kid, and the kid goes over the banister and falls like 4 stories,
Yeah.
and bam, hits the
And
ground, and
they
his
do-
neck snaps.
I mean, I do like. There's like this head flip where the like it's like
Yeah.
I don't. It's really, really,
just
really
the body
quick.
just flips and it just cracks, and everyone in the audience
big
was
puddle of
shocked.
blood.
Remember the audience? I will say, for a shock effect, everyone in the audience, because
Yeah.
we were in a packed theater, was
and
shocked.
Corey is also holding a knife because he was like
When
he didn't know what was
he
going on
didn't-
upstairs.
Yes, and the parents see their kid dead there in the front, look up, see Corey, and they're like, "What did you do?" And then credits.
And the credits are so cool because it's from Halloween 3.
Yes, it's the same font as Halloween 3, which makes sense because this is the Blumhouse and David Gordon Green's 3rd film, so it's very
It's
purposely
interesting
done.
that they acknowledge the season of the witch, which has nothing to do with
Nothing
the timeline
yeah,
of
but
the
it's
trilogy.
like I think they want to like people to know like we know this movie's
well,
in
then why
there.
didn't they involve the Jamie Lloyd?
Why
didn't they
No, they did
involve-
scenes. They did scenes, but they're not going to do characters. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, I will say for
Is
an
it Jamie
opening
Lloyd?
scene, yeah,
Oh,
Jamie
okay,
Lloyd,
okay.
Danielle Harris. So for an opening scene, it was strong, and I feel like I want
loved
to talk
the
about like the
opening.
opening scene, and everyone we were with was really enjoyed the opening scene. I will say this:
The kid is
I,
the brat.
I thought it was a strong opening, but I felt a little bit like, but there was no Michael Myers, and I know that's like, well, there doesn't have to be, but it's a Halloween movie.
Right,
Like
I think-
there was no Michael Myers.
Right.
The whole conflict
No,
was not real.
Right.
There-
I think that's like do you remember in the final chapter of Friday 13th Part 4?
Of
Like,
course.
okay, so remember like it takes a long time like they have that big opening, then they
The
have
hospital.
the hospital. So it's like you're almost like rooting for Michael to get out and kill those
But
the nurse.
Jason at least kills the 2 people.
True,
Like
you're
it-
absolutely right. But
well-
it's like as a viewer, you're rooting for Michael to be in it.
Yes, and I see that, but it's just it was look again. It was a very different, and I think it was a very strong opening scene. One of the best parts of the movie. It
yeah, because
just
that
was
kid's a brat.
for shock effect and stuff. But it was weird that there was no Michael. And again, I guess for unexpected purposes that worked. And either way, I did think it was a strong opening. So good.
Yeah.
So we go through the credits. Then we switch to present day, and they had like a cool little montage where they're showing clips from the original Halloween and 2018 Halloween Kills, and Jamie Lee Curtis is voicing over something, and you find out she's writing
It's
a memoir.
nice recap.
It is a great recap, and you get to see scenes from all the movies.
Yeah,
but she's
they-
doing a memoir of like basically everything she's gone through.
Right,
You know?
it's kind of Sex in the City-ish. Like,
yeah, it is. It is without the humor.
right.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't make puns.
You're right. Good old Jamie. No, but she's talking about how, and it is funny because remember, did you see the title of her memoir? It was really bad. It was like Stalkers something and something.
Oh,
like
I thought
a
it was
horrible title.
Pumpkins.
It was pumpkins, pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and she says, and I thought it was clever that they did it through a memoir, so we didn't need like a narrator. It was
Right,
her.
but I mean, it does help for the person just walking in to see like, oh, I've never seen Friday 13th. I've never seen Halloween.
I mean,
So,
I can't. Who's seen this movie that's never seen Halloween?
I know
Assholes, I'll
no,
tell ya.
I do know someone who's never seen one Halloween.
And saw Halloween Ends?
No, but I told them like you could potentially just see this and be fine.
I mean, ooh, they would be like, wait, what's Halloween about?
I
Because
think
like this
if
is the
you've
least
never
Michael
seen
Myers.
a Halloween movie and you just walked in and saw Halloween Ends,
You get it, but you
like,
you,
oh, this old lady. Oh my
this
god,
old lady has been being attacked by him for years.
Oh, I
This
just
old
said
lady.
I'm terrible.
Oh, so anyway, so you find out that in the 4 years since the last movie, Jamie Lee Curtis has, after losing her daughter because Judy Greer died in the last one,
Which was a shock to me.
it was a shock, and they left it as a cliffhanger. She has realized that she can just no longer be living in fear in a trap. So she bought a new house, lived with her granddaughter,
Decorates
Allison.
for Halloween.
And now she's like done a total 180. She's embraced Halloween. She's no longer living in fear. Michael Myers hasn't been seen since that night, so she's okay.
When
and
you
here was
move-
my
when
first
you
thought.
moved to Maui.
Well, here's what. Okay, for a couple thoughts. Number one, yes. Why the fuck you can
Why are you
live a
staying in
new life
Haddonfield?
out of Haddonfield? But here's my second thought, and I know people were bringing this up online, but I thought this, so I had to bring it up. Okay, in the first 2018 movie, it's been 40 years since she was attacked, and Michael Myers is in captivity, as in he's behind bars, and she's a wreck. She's afraid all the time, and it's consumed her life. This year, Michael Myers is just missing, aka he's out there somewhere, and it's only been 4 years, and her daughter died, but she's living,
making pies.
loves Halloween now, and is totally happy. That just doesn't make sense.
No, because if there was no body found, and like she's the one that's like shooting guns, and
She
like,
knows he's out there. She was more afraid when he was behind bars, but now that he's out there missing,
I
she's
guess,
like, "Ooh, I'm
you
good."
know, it's one of those things. I think time heals all wounds.
But I mean, it just was a weird take. I get they couldn't make her
Four
the
writers,
same Laurie.
four writers.
Well, see, what I think it is, they just wanted to have a different Laurie. Like, and again, it was
Like
nice
she
to see
wasn't
Laurie
Linda
happy.
Hamilton Laurie. She was
Not
more
anymore,
like
no.
sweet Laurie.
She was sweet grandmother, and
Yeah.
I will say it was nice seeing her playing this much more grounded,
Softer.
softer character, because it reminded me of Laurie from the first movie. You know, where she's just kind of having fun with the kids, and she's like very
They
maternal.
did add that little twirl of the hair.
She had the twirl of the hair, yeah. So anyway, so you see her doing that, and then right away, like you see her living with Allison. Allison now is a nurse, because obviously I don't know if she went to college or she didn't, but she's working
trying
as a
to
nurse.
move up the corporate ladder.
Yeah,
but
so-
her
well,
boss is terrible.
Yeah, so they switched to Corey, and apparently you find out. Well, another thing you find out is that the town, since everything happened, like people have been paranoid, and people, you know, have been thinking he's returning, killing themselves, you know, and ever since.
That was an interesting subplot.
Yeah,
of,
like, why would you-
They showed woman hanging herself, and two people had gunshots in their heads.
And I heard the woman
was
who
like,
hung
what's
herself
going
was Oscar's mom from Halloween Kills. Remember when she comes to the hospital looking for him?
Yes.
But here's the thing, like, I get killing yourself because of the grief, but like killing yourself because you think Michael's coming, that's a weird
Yeah,
thing to do.
so not everything adds up.
Exactly. So anyway, but you do find out that Corey, after that accident,
Still stays in town.
yeah, well, apparently he got off as he was found innocent, was not convicted,
Well, he
or
was innocent.
I mean, in that instance, yes. But and he's around town, but he's become like the town pariah, as in like they've now almost, he's like the new boogeyman, because when people see him, all they see is a child killer. You're the babysitter who killed the kid, even though it was an accident. They don't care.
He works in like a junkyard at his dad's. He fixes cars and crushes cars and does stuff with cars.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't know if it's his dad because he calls him Ronald, but it's like a stepdad or someone that's with his mom. I know.
Right.
He called him Ronald, and that's why I was like, if it's your dad, don't you call him dad? But maybe it's a stepdad. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to
Tiny
that.
thing. I just heard, again, I've seen it 3 times.
I've seen it once.
I've already
But
seen it 3 times.
I would definitely see it again. I don't want to watch it on Peacock. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This is a side note, real quick. I saw it with you in IMAX after a lot of traffic, and I sat down. I was really comfortable. And on the biggest screen possible. So I really took in the movie. I don't think I would have the same experience just watching it on
definitely
Peacock.
not. Because I watched it a couple days later on Peacock. It's
Is it-
totally different.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, anything is different like that.
Very
But
true. Just to anyone out there, don't put a movie out the same day as Peacock. I think that whole trend needs to just go away.
I don't know what is the thought behind that, other than that because it's not. I don't
They're
think
like, oh my
people
God,
are.
we want our streaming service number one.
I get that, and they really use it to push the streaming service. I mean, Peacock has been pushing this, like, we are the home of Halloween Ends, and like, good for you, but like, see it in a movie theater. It was
Yeah,
made
like,
to be a movie.
I agree. I think movies should always be seen on a big screen.
Elite first,
Always.
first, yeah.
Always.
I mean,
And
maybe a month
maybe
later.
our minds are just trained because that's the way we grew up. But
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, so anyway, so Corey, yes. And so then there's a part where Corey goes to like a convenience store and these really annoying high school bullies who, by the way,
part of a band.
a marching band.
Marching
Not
band.
a band
Right.
like cool garage band. I'm talking like marching band
Right.
uniforms.
And you know, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to say this. Not my idea of what bullies would be.
I thought the marching band gets bullied.
Right. That's what I was like. If it was football players, maybe that would be a little more cliched.
And again, I truly put this as let's do something different.
Like
let's have
band
these
members.
marching band be the bullies. But it's like
Never.
watching it, like they're talking about their band performance. I'm like, these people are nerds.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's the opposite day we're living in.
Yeah, like they see Corey and they want him to buy them booze because Corey's like in his 20s and Corey says no, and then they're like, oh, you're that child murderer, and they keep making fun of him. They push him and he
Right.
messes up his hand on glass, and who comes to save him?
Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode, Miss Cool Grandma, and she comes up and she's like, assholes, and of course they
They're
look
like,
at her.
hey, freak show and psycho.
Yeah,
Psycho and freak show.
Yeah, they call Laurie a freak show, and they're like, ooh, Michael Myers, because, you know, she's still seen as sort of a freak because of everything that happened to her. Again, why do you treat a victim like that? Like, it wasn't her fault.
Yeah, and not only that, like, I did feel bad for Corey because, yes, he's...
Corey and Laurie.
Corey and Laurie.
I love that.
Because,
Yeah,
freak show and psycho. Because, you know, he's not too far out of high school. What was he, 22? 23?
Well, he said he was 21 in the 2019, so if it's 20, he's 25.
So you're not too far away from high school.
Or 24, sorry. Wow, bad math.
These four little punks, I would be scared too. I'd be scared
They
today.
were assholes, but the best is that Laurie says, basically, let's slash their tires. And
I
then
like that.
it was fun because it shows that she's kind of cool. She's not going to stand for shit. Because if there's one thing Laurie Strode doesn't do anymore, it's let people bully her.
Like walk all over
No,
her.
definitely not. So she brings Corey purposely to the hospital that Allison works at because she wants to match them up.
Right, and those love waves came fast.
I mean,
I was
and
like,
it's funny
boom.
because the doctor at this place treats Allison
He's
like
an
shit,
asshole.
sexist, like just treating her like crap.
But
And
was there any like I guess it's more satisfying as a viewer when those kind of characters get killed. But what was the reasoning for making the doctor so gross?
I think that, a few things to show that her life has been, like, she is not in a great place in her
But
life.
they made her so much stronger in 2018, the Halloween and Halloween Kills. Like,
True,
why are they
but
making...
she hadn't lost both of her parents and all of her
True.
friends and her boyfriend by then. Now it's been years since then, and she's traumatized. I mean, she's just as traumatized as Laurie, but she lost both of her parents, her friends, and I think she's come to also
Well, her
people.
boyfriend threw her phone in the cheese.
You're right, but he got his neck snapped for that by Michael Myers. And her mom was knifed down, and her dad's neck was snapped, and her
Oh.
best friend got stabbed, and her boyfriend got killed. And so she's been
Trauma.
through a lot.
Trauma.
So she's not exactly, I don't know if she is in the mental state where she's finding healthy relationships or jobs.
True.
So, I mean, think about where Laurie was a few years ago. So anyway, but so she sees in Corey, she gets really intrigued by him, and watching the movie, like, she's really into him. And all I was thinking was, I guess because she's so fucked up, she wants to be with
Right.
someone who else is
Right.
fucked up.
I think that, I think now looking at from what you just said, I could see why two people that have had rough goes at life could connect so quickly.
But she even says, like, she almost sought him out. Like, when she heard what happened with the murder of the kid, or not the murder, the accident with the kid, and then everyone treated him like shit. She's like, oh, I can relate because I
Yeah.
saw everyone I know was killed, and I was treated weirdly because I was a survivor. Even though it's very different, a survivor versus a person who caused a death.
You would have that instant connection of sadness.
And just trauma.
I
Like
can't
Jamie
say
Lee
it.
Curtis says,
Trauma.
trauma. So anyway, she and then there's like a nice little scene where Lindsay, Kyle Richards, is like at
Yes.
Laurie's house, and Laurie's carved a pumpkin, and they're like all hanging out.
I mean, you would think that Lindsay, aka Kyle Richards, was in this movie a ton for how much Jamie Lee Curtis was on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And Lindsay, I could honestly say, was reduced to like 3 tiny scenes.
Throwaway character. She's like in scenes.
She doesn't
She's
even-
in more scenes than Halloween Kills, but it's nothing like her scene in Halloween Kills, which
No,
matters.
She doesn't even get to fight Michael Myers.
She's hanging out with Lori and Allison doing tarot cards. She's at the bar.
Talking boys.
She's now like she's a bartender and at the bar, breaking up fights. She's talking, so she's nothing that's substantial, which is so bizarre. Why did you have her in this movie to just be a sideline
Four
character?
writers couldn't write her just a little bit.
I don't know if they just didn't want her to have to fight Michael again, even though Jamie Lee has to fight him every time.
I would have been fine. I would love to have had a scene with Kyle Richards going head to head with Michael.
It's crazy. But anyway, so then they're wasting a lot of time on like Allison goes to Corey's work to have him fix her car.
She's
and then
coming on strong.
He's teaching her how to ride a motorcycle, and watching this, like, you're almost like, okay, this is like a weird teenage romance.
Yeah,
like, what is going on?
Like, I know you're not familiar with Grease 2, but in Grease 2, it's all about a cool rider and like a motorcycle and Michelle Pfeiffer being turned on the only movie that I could think of as a reference when I saw
That's so funny.
I was like, Grease 2.
Well, all this time, and they are luckily intersplicing this with scenes of Lori. Like Lori's at the supermarket and she runs into the sheriff.
That was awkward.
Well, the sheriff was sweet and you can tell they still have feelings, but then there's this and I actually felt this scene was very effective in a way just because I could see people in town treating Lori like shit, even though it's not her fault. Like, she runs into the sister of what's her name? The woman whose husband was the older woman.
What I thought she
Sandra. She was the one who got the fucking fluorescent light bulb stuck through her throat.
That is memorable, but for all the wrong reasons.
She never died. Apparently, she survived. I don't know how that happens.
I don't think
Watched
that's
her husband become a pincushion and survive, but her sister is there at the supermarket with her in a wheelchair. She can't speak, and it's like, do you even know her name? Because of you, Michael killed her husband, and I'm like, because of Lori?
It's also that Nev Campbell syndrome, like everyone in Scream 2.
And Scream 4, like when she comes back. Here's the thing.
Everyone dies around Sydney.
Yeah, and when you're a victim and the killer has been coming after you a lot, it's like they almost feel like you've infected the town. But I thought that was like, because you could see that Lori was really affected by it because she wants to be happy, but like she can't get past this.
She went to her car and just sat and
and she looks
at
but those are scenes I love Jamie Lee Curtis because she does emote well. Like, she seems troubled, she seems sweet, she seems like depressed. So I like that.
I will say, like, the movie, and I know a lot of Halloween fans were like, more Michael. I, as someone who has grown up with the entire series, how is there 13 films?
This is the 13th, yeah.
Wow. And she's played Lori 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
So as a viewer who's really watched these films, like, at least, I would say each film at least 5-10 times in my lifetime.
Me, it's like 100.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I didn't mind this little Corey, Andy Matichak relationship.
I'm going to wait to tell my overall thoughts, but I see what you're saying, yeah.
Because that's a big chunk of this movie.
You're right. But
we need to discuss that the scene where they go to the bar.
Yes. Well, so that's what comes right after. I'm just trying to go in order here. But what I was saying is that up until this point, there's no Michael Myers, and it's just like back between Lori and what her life is, and then Lori and Corey. And so finally, Allison invites Corey to a Halloween party. It's not Halloween yet; it's a couple days before at the bar Lindsay works at. And it's a costume party, and she brings him.
That bar, by the way, is a dump.
Total like dive bar, and she goes with her coworker, who, by the way, I know you love because her coworker is like ditzy, slutty, like such a stereotype cliche.
Someone I could relate to on screen.
Ditzy and slutty, just like Tim.
I'm not really
no,
slutty.
well, because you find out her coworker's sleeping with the doctor, and that's how she gets a promotion. And she's very like, she just runs her mouth. She's such a cliche that the second you see her, you know she's gonna be murdered.
Yeah,
she's gonna be murdered.
And you know the doctor, because anyone that's mean to the main characters, they're gonna get it.
Of course, and anyone who's just annoying and like totally like unaware of everything targets. So but they go to the party, and she brings Corey, and Corey is like really worried because he doesn't go out much because of what people think. So they have this really bizarre dance scene which lasts way too long, and it's like, Allison and Corey dancing on the dance floor to like some punk song.
Right.
And the whole time I kept thinking, okay, they're dancing and they're showing all these flashes. She's gonna see Michael. It's gonna be like, remember, I know what you, or I still know what you did. Listen,
yeah.
She's gonna see Michael in a Blameson freak out. Nope.
Nothing.
Nothing.
he
Just
takes
them
off-
dancing.
He has like a different kind of, obviously Michael has the famous mask, and then he's got like this cute little
scarecrow mask because that's what she got for him for his party. But
Interesting.
that entire dance scene, no glimpses of Michael, nothing. So he goes up to the bar, and this was effective
scene's
because
so good. I
he
loved it.
runs into who's there drinking, looking horribly traumatized, the mother of the kid he killed.
Yeah, and she's still wearing that Gatsby costume.
I think she just hasn't
She's like, I'm
exited
gonna wear this
that
again.
moment. I'm going to wear this every year for Halloween. So she looks at him, and this was, talk about the most true to life scene, because a mother whose kid
Dramatic.
died, I don't care if it's an accident or not, you are going to blame
I
that
got chills.
babysitter. She looks at Corey, and she's like, oh, you having fun?
Ew.
Glad you're having fun. My son's dead because you, and she starts like pulling a scene.
And
Lindsay has to pull her back.
Kyle Richards pulls her back, and like that famous meme with Kyle Richards pulling back someone pointing and this
From
like little
Real
cat?
Housewives, yeah.
I was like, is that on purpose?
I know, it is really
I
funny.
don't know if it's such a
Corey runs to leave, and Allison runs after him, and he's like, why did you bring me here? Da-da-da. And they have this big discussion of like, he's like, you don't know what it's like, you were a survivor, but everyone looks at me like I'm Michael Myers, hint, hint, kind of thing. Like,
That scene was weird, right? I know you've seen it 3 times. So she just holds out her hands.
it's very weird.
What
She holds
is
out her hands. I don't know
that?
what. It's so funny you said that, because all 3 times I've noticed that Allison holds out her hands to him. I don't know if a line was cut. Maybe she said, like, take my hand, I get you, like, I can feel your pain. But whatever they cut, it makes no sense, because her hands are out there and it means nothing.
Right, like he doesn't take them.
Very weird.
He doesn't give her a high five.
Nothing.
Nothing.
He leaves, and who finds him walking home but those annoying bullies, and they stop, and
well,
they
there's
get
one
in.
girl that's kind of sweet.
One girl, Margot, who has major 80s hair. Like, I'm talking
It is-
80s hairband
she
hair.
looks dumpy.
What year was she in?
I don't know.
The others, there's the most annoying one who's just like New Jersey Vinny kind of guy, talking like this, and he's just like,
His
I'm
hair-
marching band
I
guy.
don't know, but they all have bad hair.
So they end up, still bullying Corey, and they throw him over this like overpass down near a sewer.
Yeah,
and
they're pretty awful.
horrible.
Like, I don't know. That's little Rob Zombie territory where like every character's just kind of terrible.
Yes.
Why?
Well,
Why
I
is
do
that?
think that they are trying to paint a picture of Haddonfield as being a lot of really troubled, traumatized people that don't know what to do with their anger. Like, I think they're saying small
Yes.
town
I don't know.
USA.
As a viewer, as someone who grew up in Ohio in a small town USA, I guess that was not my experience.
Of course, I don't
mean,
think any
they're
small
out there
towns
for
like that.
sure.
But your town also didn't have like a serial killer kill a ton of people.
Well, yet.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
kidding.
So anyway, to move this ahead, finally, about 40 minutes in, Michael shows up because Corey gets pulled into a sewer. Now, totally looked like Pennywise in It, like, because he gets pulled into a sewer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, that too. But when he wakes up, he's trying to get out of the sewer, and he gets like grabbed, and it's Michael Myers who's hiding in the sewer, and it's like he's about to strangle him. And then he like looks into Corey's eyes, and he sees like the murder of the kid, and lets him go.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, so many questions. So Michael Myers can see people's souls.
Yes.
Secondly, if you're evil, you get spared. I guess he's not come across any other evil people, because
I thought you
everyone
said-
I've seen
I thought you
is
said Comic-Con.
I guess he's not seen any other evil people, because no one else has been spared. And Corey like runs out of the sewer because I think even he's shocked that he got spared. And this homeless guy keeps like giving him shit. And then like Corey he has a knife, and he stabs the guy to
Many
get him away from him
times.
and murders him. And so obviously you're
That was
like,
broad daylight, right?
I see where this is going. Yeah, because I guess it's the next morning.
And it's very reminiscent. Remember Tommy in Friday 13th Part 5? Like, he's like taking on Jason.
Yeah,
Like,
and so
why?
in a weird way, I don't know if, again, and we'll talk about this at the very end, but like, if we're supposed to think, was Corey always evil, and this confrontation with Michael like awakened it because of that, or because there's a lot of things to unpack here?
I always think, from watching the film once, I know I saw it 3 times, I always thought Corey was a sweet guy.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Okay, I
I think
watched the
that
movie
what they
completely
said is that
differently.
Corey had it in him, the potential to be evil, and it like got awoken from Michael Myers, because like I think Lori, well, we'll get to it when Lori talks about how like you can have it inside you, and it just needs to be like broken up. And I think being part of this town who looked at him as evil this whole time awoken like, well, fuck it, fuck all of you, and like
Right.
his evil
So their
side.
relationship continues. They
Yeah.
go on dates and motorcycling. But the scene I really like, not really like, but like Andy, what's her name in the movie?
Allison.
Allison. I just call her Andy.
Andy Matichak. Yeah.
So like she's pulled over by some cop and they dated and he looks like 20 years older than her.
Yeah, it's very weird. And so real quick to get to, I know the scene you're talking about because they go on a date, but before that, when he comes to Lori's house to see Allison the next day, Lori sees him and is frightened. She sees something in his eyes that reminds her of Michael. Now, another thing. Yes, I know Lori has unmasked him in the first movie and other times, but she didn't spend a lot of time looking into his eyes, but she acts like she knew Michael, like they were best friends. Like she's even telling Lindsay, I saw in him what I saw in Michael. You didn't look into his eyes that much.
That actually was a really good jump scare when like she walked outside thinking Corey was behind a bush.
I did love that he was behind a bush like Michael Myers was in the first one.
Yeah.
And I also like that jump scare, but she's suddenly troubled by him.
Me.
Well, she's troubled by him, and then Corey goes on more dates with Allison, including he takes her out to like this, like a restaurant or a diner, and the cop that Allison used to date comes up to them,
and
it
was her dad. I know her dad
like
died.
Her dad.
But I was like,
way older than him.
Why? The casting's interesting choice.
Again, all I can think is that Allison is so fucked up that every decision she makes is bad. Her employment, her dating, like obviously she's making really bad decisions.
But I mean, like he's still like not over her clearly.
Yeah, and he sees her with Corey, and he's like, "Oh, you feel safe with him, the child killer?" And Corey suddenly has this newfound confidence, like stands up to him, looks at him. It was great. But then later that night, the cop is following Corey, and Corey knows it, so
what a moron.
He takes him to, like, he leads him to the sewer, gets the cop to go into the sewer with him, and then in all I can describe as a tag team murder, Corey and Michael together tag team murder the cop.
Corey's literally holding down the cop while Michael stabs him. And things like this is probably why Halloween fans are upset, just because it's so absurd.
Well, because we've never needed a tag team murder, and also since when does Michael have a partner? Secondly, since when would Michael give Corey the time of day to let him be his partner?
Why is he not stabbing through the cop, stabbing Corey?
Exactly. But then it's so weird because also Corey says, like, show me how you do it. I'm pretty sure that killing is just, you just kill.
Yeah.
But secondly, they have this weird thing that all I can describe is looks like Michael Myers is having an orgasm when after he kills, it's like he was weak and now it's like he has his power back. He shakes.
I don't know where I was watching the movie, but I just accepted everything that was presented to me.
I saw that and I really tried to be like, I hope I didn't just see like Michael regain his power, because again, I like to look at Michael as just a man. I don't want the supernatural stuff because then I'm not afraid anymore.
It's still unclear.
It's unclear, but when he kills, he obviously, as Jamie Lee said in the last movie, the more he kills, the more he transcends. Well, apparently he's been weak for a while, and he's like gotten his power back.
Many questions. How does he eat?
I mean, you can't ask those. Where does he poop and pee?
Does he journal?
Oh wait, sorry.
Know.
He's in a sewer. I guess that doesn't matter.
Does he just,
the journal question I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
Today I thought about Lori. Where is she? Is she still in a bunker?
Man, this sewer stinks.
Man, this sewer stinks. Hey, how many people did I kill? Let me keep a tally. No,
because one of those homeless people keep coming near my sewer.
Yeah, and why is he not afraid of me? So anyway, then we get to Corey is full-fledged now lost in and realizes he can kill. And there's a really fun scene with the one you want killed, Allison's coworker and the doctor.
God, this is the best.
They come home to the doctor's rich, huge house, and it's obvious they're sleeping together, and that's why she got the promotion that was promised to Allison.
Right. So like she's showering, and he's like, just the whole setup as a viewer, you know this is not going to end well.
Not only do you know it's not going to end well, they showed this in the previews. You knew this girl was going to get it, but first she hears like a struggle, and she goes out to find the doctor. Which, by the way, I love that she's fucking him and still calls him Dr. Mathis. Like she can't use his first name.
Like foreplay.
Exactly. So she finally sees Corey wearing the scarecrow mask,
which
like stabbing him open and open, over and over, open and open, over and over. She runs away, closes the door, thinks that she's safe, but Michael's inside with her. Again, another tag team.
She peeks out, and then Michael peeks out.
Exactly, but she thinks she's safe from the killer, aka Corey, but no, Michael's in there with her, and Michael does his classic hold the person up, stab him into the wall
head
kill.
Tilt.
Did a head tilt. I love the callback, but we saw that in the trailer, so it wasn't like a surprise.
Right.
So again, and then Corey's looking at Michael like it's like his idol, and I'm like, this is a weird tag team.
Okay, so here's the number one question I have. How did Michael and Corey get to that house? Did Michael ride on the back of his motorcycle?
That's a great question. Apparently everyone in Haddonfield lives within walking distance.
Apparently. He's like, hey, Michael, get out of the sewer.
But you're right,
we got
I know.
Some people
Good
to
question.
kill.
But because you know that Corey is mobile because he has a motorcycle, but Michael isn't. But the thing is
he's
that,
like, I'll meet you there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did they plan? Did he text Michael?
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, murder at 7:00.
Right. Did he just bring him to the house and he's like, you know what to do?
And after every time, like, Corey kills, he goes and sees Allison. It's really creepy.
Yeah, he's like, he goes, you know what?
I'm really I need to have
girlfriend.
sex with Allison. Anyway, Lori is like very nervous because she's seeing something. So anyway, we get to actual Halloween, and Corey we forgot to talk about his overbearing mother, and she straight out of like again Jersey Shore with the accent,
right?
Like really overbearing.
His dad seems like a cool guy.
Yes, but really overbearing. Can't stand that he's seeing a girl. Can't stand that he's staying out. And she there's that weird part where she slaps him and then she kisses him on the mouth. What the fuck
it's
was
like
that?
Like I love you, but I hate you.
But no. Moms shouldn't kiss kids on the mouth. I'm sorry.
I didn't see it that. But
You
I mean,
didn't?
like,
Did your mom kiss you on the mouth?
Never.
Okay, because I'm sorry. If you're a parent out there who kisses your kids on the mouth, don't.
Gross.
Don't. Like, that's not, no.
I mean, I have seen it in movies, and I will say it always shocks me.
It creeps me out. But anyway, something weird was going on there. Anyway, Halloween morning, Corey wakes up. He slept in the house where he killed the kid. Creepy.
Right. And then there's
Lori's
that, like,
there.
she's backing up in a chair like you are right now.
Yeah, like I'm doing that now. Lori is there, and she basically tells him in an eloquent way, I'm not going to repeat, that there's two types of evil. Like one where it's like just some outside force that affects your family or your tribe, and one that is in all of us and just needs to be awakened.
That was a dream, right?
What do you mean?
Like that conversation really
No,
didn't happen.
that happened.
She was really in that house talking to him?
Yeah, and then she left.
Oh
she
my
just left
God.
quick. Like he says like you are like like you're infected. And she said I can help you, get over whatever this is, but you have to leave Allison alone. And he is just like, if I can't have her, no one can.
Right.
And then she leaves.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for breaking that down for me because I thought that was just him dreaming.
No.
Okay, well I'm glad
I don't
you
know
can
what movie
explain
you were
this.
watching.
I don't know.
No, I mean she disappears quickly, but no, like she's just like that's what she had to say.
Okay, because I thought with her constantly tapping, I thought that was like a dream metaphor.
No, I thought that was her. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was her just trying to be intimidating to him. Like, I know what's up. Like, I am here.
I thought...
Don't fuck with me. No. And in fact, I know it's not a dream because that's when he calls Allison and says, like, we got to talk about your grandmother. She threatened me and stuff like that. No, that happened.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So anyway, so it's Halloween and he tells Allison, let's leave Haddonfield. Like, we don't need to be here.
The best idea ever.
Yeah, exactly. Which I do agree, not for her to leave with him.
Right, but he killed people, so...
Yeah, exactly. But we get to and then Allison is just like, fuck it, let's leave tonight. Like, perfect night to leave.
Right. It kind of now they're kind of like Bonnie and Clyde.
Exactly, and which she dressed up as in Halloween 2018.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend took her phone,
threw it in the
cheese.
cheese. Exactly. After cheating on her. Yeah. So anyway, Allison is like, there's a scene with Lori where Lori's like, I see in him what I saw in Michael. Of course, Allison thinks Lori's crazy, and she's like, I'm leaving. Blah 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 blah. So anyway. There's a very comical scene where Corey decides, fuck, he could have escaped with Allison, but fuck that. You know what I'd rather do tonight?
Sit on
Halloween.
a rooftop?
No, you know what I'd rather do tonight is take Michael's mask and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, that's fun.
But there's a scene, he goes into the sewer, and again, I thought Michael had regained his power by now. No, because Corey has a struggle with him.
Oh, that
and
was
so
ridiculous.
easily beats him down and steals a mask. Who can beat Michael down and steal their mask?
Corey.
Apparently, Corey has gotten some of that supernatural or power and is able to do that.
Did we already pass the scene where they go sit on the rooftop of the?
Yeah, because we were spending way too long.
Okay.
No. So he takes his mask and then he goes on what can only be described as like the biggest killing rampage of the movie. As Michael, he puts on Michael's mask, and first he goes and he lures the bullies, which everyone wanted to see them
This is
get
a
killed.
good scene.
Yes, he gets the marching band people to come to the junkyard.
It's very reminiscent of Christine.
It is very reminiscent of Christine. He's in the car at first, and he like runs one of them down, kills one in a car. And then his poor dad or dad figure is there,
dad or whoever,
sees him with the Michael Myers mask, is confused, tries to like block him from one of the bullies shooting him, and gets shot in the head.
The bully shoots the dad in the head
Because he was trying to shoot Corey.
Crazy.
Corey is able to be, and that bully, the worst of them all, gets his face flame torched, or what is it?
Yes, yeah.
What's that called?
And then the one girl that was kind of nice to him, you think, I was like, maybe he'll be sweet to her. No. Steps on her face.
I mean, she was the one run down, and she's covered by a barbed wire face. You said face. Covered by a barbed wire fence. But he doesn't, again, when you're at this level of killing, there's no mercy even for nice people. He stomps on her face. But
yeah,
then
I was
he goes,
like, oh, jeez.
Then he goes and visits the DJ. We didn't talk about that scene because it was just whatever.
It's
but there's this
but he
annoying
cuts off his
DJ.
tongue and it's on a record player.
Yeah, I know. Great kill. Smashes
Totally
his head
stupid.
down, cuts his tongue off, puts on the record, and it's like skipping all the time.
I was like, clever.
Then he goes and he kills his overbearing mom, which they cut that scene because you don't see it.
Maybe it's like, I'm going back to Friday 13 Part 4. Remember, they didn't show the mom get killed in Friday 13 Part 4.
True, but I read it was actually a scene that was cut. So I think it's going to be on deleted scenes. I did read up a little. Apparently there was a brutal scene where you see him stabbing the mom and they cut that. I don't know if it was for ratings or what, but you only see the aftermath.
Which is fine.
Yeah, so Allison is like, where is Corey? I'm supposed to run off with him and he's not responding to her. So we get to Lori, who thinks, her Halloween. Lori knows that Corey is going to be coming for her. She doesn't know that Michael's still out there, but so she goes upstairs and she decides she's going to pretend like she's about to commit suicide. No idea why.
Calls the cops.
Reports a suicide at her house, holds a gun to her head, and for a split second as the audience, you're like, is she going to do this?
Because the movie's called Halloween Ends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not suicidal Halloween Ends. So as Corey, as Michael Myers, is pushing the door open, she then puts the gun at him and says, did you really think I was going to kill myself? And shoots him twice, which really was awesome. That was awesome.
No, and you know what? He survived everything else, so 2 more bullets.
But here's the thing. So Corey, after 2 bullets, is not killed. She goes up to him and says, and kind of talks with him and says, if you're going to kill me, do it. He can't.
Was he wearing the Scarecrow mask?
No, he's wearing the Michael Myers mask.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And so then she's having a talk with him and he hears Allison's car is pulling up and he says, basically, how you going to explain this to Allison, and then stabs himself in the throat, aka to make it look like Lori had killed him.
Which was just bad timing.
And Allison walks in, Lori's trying to take the knife out of him to help him, and Allison finds her with the knife and is like, I love that scream.
It was
She's
good.
like, and Lori is like crying. She's like, no. She couldn't explain. I wish she had just said quicker, I didn't kill him, he killed himself. But no, of course he didn't say that.
But at this point, Allison did not know that her boyfriend was a homicidal killer.
No, not that. I thought you were going to say it was a homosexual.
He was also a homosexual.
So Allison leaves, and then, in the most tacked-on way, Lori realizes, oh wait, there's someone else at my house. Oh yeah, it's Michael Myers.
The whole reason we're in the theater.
The whole movie, which was marketed as the ending saga between Lori and Michael. Oh yeah, now he's come.
Oh, now we. Here's the thing. I think Halloween fans really, really want fireworks for this ending. It's
good.
Fight.
So here's the thing. Michael comes back to get his mask. Corey tries to keep holding it because Corey's still alive, even after stabbing himself, getting shot. Michael snaps his neck. Finally, Corey's dead. Thank fucking God. So Michael is at home with Lori, and then they go and they have their big ultimate fight. But again, it felt so tacked on. Like this whole movie's about Corey, and then, oh yeah, Michael's still there.
Right, and like the poster's like Michael and Lori. That's
the ending saga.
We want this huge
they have
fight.
a huge fight, half of which was spoiled in the trailers.
The whole trailer is it?
Yes, exactly. But she finally is able to pin Michael's hands down with knives, which was really cool. Push the refrigerator on him and keep him there. She slits his throat, and you think, oh my God, he's dead. He gets one of his hands out from the knife to strangle her.
I was like, because they do this really cool montage of all the Halloween
where she's remembering everything that happened, all the Halloweens.
The Halloween that is in the.
And I will say, I was really nervous at that point that she was going to kill him and they were going to die together.
Me
and I was
too.
like, no, I wanted her. If she's the ultimate final girl, let her fucking persevere, do something right in this movie. And guess what? They did that part right because Allison runs in and saves her, snaps his arm.
That was graphic. I liked it.
I loved it because I was like, do not fucking kill Lori, not after all this and after this movie.
Right.
And especially if Corey can power or overpower him and get this mask, then Laurie can then win. So Allison snaps his neck. Yeah, Allison snaps his arm, and Laurie and her are just looking at him. The police come and they're like, "Oh, Michael's dead." And then I like Allison's like, "Not dead enough." And they decide, you know what? It's not enough to just do this to him. They take him on the top of their car. They have a procession.
Like a Christmas tree.
Like a Christmas tree. A procession. It's almost like a parade. Everyone in Haddonfield.
How did they get that news out so quickly? And you know, why wasn't Kyle there?
That is the craziest thing. Why wouldn't Lindsay be there?
No one call Lindsay.
The whole town is showing up to see Michael Myers disposed of. But Lindsay, who was actually
she's doing
attacked.
tarot readings at the bar.
She's at the bar. The mom of that kid is still there.
She's like, still wearing Gatsby.
Exactly. And so they take Michael, and this was a cool, I will say, as a very ending way to dispose of like someone.
But you know,
it was cool.
called it because I was sitting next to you in the theater, and you're like, that's going to come into play.
So, well, what came into play was the auto place that Corey worked at has this big shredding machine. It shreds everything. So they let Laurie put his body into the shredder, and for a split second, I thought, oh my God, is he going to wake up and grab her in? Which would have been so annoying.
I actually think that would have been a cool ending, just because, like, if Jamie Lee Curtis was like, really, like, I really can't do it anymore.
Well, but
she's
such
shredded,
a letdown, though.
I know. Because you want.
Can you imagine she overcomes Michael Myers after all these years, and then oops, gets pulled in a shredder?
Right,
like, that'd be a horrible one.
Well, maybe. You just never know what's going on through the minds.
You're right. So she puts his body in this shredder, and his whole body just like explodes, like as a way of totally being like, this is done, you know, like. And then it's like her and Allison, they kind of look, and it's like he is done with. And the very end of the movie, it's her kind of writing parts in her memoir.
Something about blossoms.
You find out that Allison is finally leaving Haddonfield.
Finally.
Thank God. Laurie's staying though, and she says, and it's a clever line. She says that evil never really dies; it just changes shape. AKA, like other people can become this evil.
And Michael Myers was referred to as the Shape.
Exactly. So it was very clever, and I thought, and also you see that she's kept his mask in her house. So meaning, who's to say someone else couldn't take the mask? So it was a clever way of like slightly keeping it open, but saying Michael Myers is dead. And then the last scene, it was sweet. The sheriff comes over and says like, we should go look at those cherry blossoms.
Right.
AKA
Was
go to
he
Japan.
supposed to be the love interest?
Yeah.
Because I think Lance Guest probably could have filled that role.
You mean if they had wanted to pretend that Halloween 2
That's
happened?
True.
Yeah,
exactly. Why couldn't they just acknowledge part 2?
Because then she'd have to be his sister. That was the whole thing they didn't want to
so
do.
dumb.
But anyway, and so it ends on kind of a hopeful note that maybe she could have, a relationship with the sheriff. Allison's going to live her life and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, overall thoughts, Tim, and I want every overall thought.
Okay. I wanted Lance Guest at the end.
No, I mean seriously.
Because I'm serious. I wanted
but
her to have like
a
cute boyfriend
because they didn't do Halloween 2. What did you think of the movie overall?
I know that like everyone's saying like honestly when they had the motorcycle scenes and the dancing that took forever and it was like the relationship, I thought it was very Lifetimey, like two people trying to get their lives together, which I did not mind as a Lifetime lover, but I also love Halloween. So the combination of the two, I hate to say it, it's so cliched of everything that we do, but I was totally entertained.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate it, but I could see like hardcore people like
Don't
you.
hate to say it, like you have an opinion, and
I
it
do
matters.
have an opinion, but I'm saying like, if you ever read Twitter, it's so divisive. Like I hated it,
or
like,
I loved it, or
right.
it's the best, or it's
either,
the worst.
People, I mean, I guess I would see it again, and I did. I guess I could say I loved it.
Well, no, you should say. To be honest, I mean,
but I'm not like I'm not gonna go up to someone like, man, this is the best movie I've ever seen.
And here's the thing: this is where I fall in it because I know I'm like the Halloween guy. So like my thoughts, like obviously I could have. There's a lot in this movie that I thought wasn't done right. Like marketing it as a Laurie versus Michael final
the whole
movie.
Trailers them fighting.
But then the entire movie's about Corey's evolution of evil. So like doing a bait and switch on people like that, not cool for franchise
a cute
fans.
guy is a breath of fresh.
But all in all, this is what I'll say. I actually did enjoy it. And it's because I thought the beginning was really strong and the ending was really strong. And even though a lot of the middle was convoluted and melodramatic and completely nothing to do with Michael and not even really Laurie, it still kept my interest, maybe because I just like any movie related to Halloween. But with that said, I do think there was a lot wrong with it. It just didn't make me hate it. So that's why I think I'm not one of these people that's going. Well, first off, I would never be one of those people on Twitter that's just bashing things, because I think that's just a ton of negativity that doesn't need to be out in the world.
You know, I love the term internet trolls.
Yeah,
I love people that just put out all this.
I also don't like people that have to rain on other people's parades. Like, here's the thing: totally cool if you hated it, but why do you have to tell everyone who liked it that you're wrong and that you shouldn't like it?
Right. It reminded me of if you voted for Hillary or Trump, or
politics, religion, and Halloween movies. That's what everyone has to have opinion on.
Shots. What's that?
COVID, the vaccine.
That was very divisive.
Well, that's everything nowadays.
But why?
Because
Halloween
because social media lets people. Anybody that wants to write 125 characters can, and people love putting their opinion in like it's a fact. But here's the thing. Anyway, just to go back to my opinion on it, though, I don't think it was one of the better Halloween movies. There's a lot of them that I liked better, but I was 100% relieved that Laurie survived, because I wanted her to overcome this. Like, she has gone through so much. She deserves a happy ending. So I wanted her to overcome, and I was happy that she did, and that was a relief. I thought the fight was great between her and Michael, way too short. Do you think
it could have been, I was about to ask you, could have been bigger and better?
But I just think this wasn't the movie to introduce an entirely new character, an entirely new plot point, because it took the focus away.
It could have been the movie after.
Or I was going to say maybe the first movie in a new trilogy, because focus on this evolution of evil and then keep it going. But this was supposed to be the conclusion to Laurie versus Michael.
You wanted fireworks.
You know what I wanted? More scenes of Michael watching Laurie, stalking her, more scenes of him showing up places. Maybe he shows up at Lindsay's house, and he shows up going after Allison. And I know you could say they've done that before.
They could have raised the stakes as a viewer, and people that like Housewives. No, but I mean, like, her being in jeopardy is
why not
raise the stakes?
Yeah, why not some of those stalking scenes? I know you could say, well, they did that. If you want to watch that, watch the original Halloween, of course. But there's things that made it great, and those fans like me want to see more of that done in different ways.
Like,
so
when
why
people
couldn't
say,
they?
Hey, Jaws 4, you can't have a shark in salt water. You can watch the original Jaws. Right? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, 100%.
No,
that
but I'm
totally
saying,
makes
like,
sense.
Jaws 4
No,
was
I know.
so
Like, anyone saying,
like, this
well,
time
if you want to
it's
see
personal,
the whole...
dogs,
I know.
I just said dogs.
Sharks
don't know anything's personal.
But the thing is that it really felt like that ending scene felt so tacked on. Like, the whole conflict of this movie was Laurie versus Corey. And then it's like, oh, yeah, Michael's around still, so you better fight him off. Like, it just felt like that. But with that said, I still enjoyed it enough to watch it multiple times and not to hate it. I feel like David Gordon Green is way too, like, how do I put this? He's so focused on doing things differently and making a big point about evil that he's not listening to what fans want. He's more concerned with what he wants to do for a movie.
Right.
And you shouldn't do that when you're dealing with a franchise of 44
Universal's
years.
Not going to question him. They're like, oh, he's brilliant.
Because I know he wanted to make this movie, like, of course, you could tell there's a message in this, like, that, like, evil, you can have it in you, and town can treat anyone like evil and like a boogeyman, and maybe that'll awaken a true boogeyman.
But is the town the boogeyman?
I mean, if you treat someone like a pariah just because of an accident, yes, but at the same time, Corey also let it infect him and became a murderer.
The movie was missing the simplicity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was listening even to the simplicity of 2018, you know, she's a survivor, he comes back. But again, I know people could counter that with, well, that's been done before. But I don't care. For the concluding chapter, let's do it again. You know?
I mean, obviously Friday the 13th did it 12 times.
Exactly. So anyway, all in all, I'm somewhere between the lovers and the haters, because there were things I really enjoyed about it. There were a lot of things I didn't think they did well. Am I going to look back on this as one of the best Halloween movies? No. But am I going to look back on this and hate it? No, because Laurie defeated Michael, and there was a cool fight, and because we got Jamie Lee Curtis in a Halloween movie, you know?
Right. And, you know, if you want to listen to some juicy scoop, you should listen to Danielle Harris and Scott Taylor Compton.
Oh, Danielle Harris and Scott Taylor Compton on Talk Scary to Me. Their podcast talked about going to the Halloween Ends premiere and meeting Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's an interesting story because it's like, it really shows the difference between like Jamie Lee's Halloweens in that universe and like their Halloweens.
Yeah, and as you and me, we love all the Halloweens.
All of them. And like there's so many people in this franchise, but there's such a disconnect between like those movies and theirs. But anyway, that's a totally different subject.
Right.
We
Whole
are
other
like,
podcast.
I can't believe, do you know it's been an hour
What?
just
We
talking
gotta
about
go.
this. I know, but I mean, I feel like, anyway, I hope that like, we really spent a lot of time on this, but I think it deserves it because it's a Halloween movie and we may not get another one. Well, we will.
No, we won't. Not with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Not with Jamie Lee Curtis. But here's the thing, like, let her be happy with it. I mean, I'm just wondering, like,
where are they going to go? I don't know.
One last question before we leave. Did Jamie Lee Curtis watch this movie and think, wow, this was really a concluding chapter to the story of Laurie versus Michael? Like, she didn't watch it and think, why is Corey the majority of this movie? Like,
no, because
did
she probably is like, hey, I just made Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. Like,
we're good.
We're good.
I mean, and again, she got her final girl moment. She got to defeat Michael. It was just a tacked on 10 minutes at the end, you know?
Pretty much.
Anyway, I hopefully if you listen to this on Halloween, hopefully this was fun and that it's getting you in the Halloween spirit. If you listen to this
put on your
afterward,
makeup, put on your costume, and go get some candy.
and go trick or treat.
Yeah.
I know what Tim's going to be saying instead of trick or treat. Dick or treat. Am
you
I
know
right?
what?
That's you,
I'm
Tim.
single.
Yeah. Hey, so then it's wait, but if the dick is the treat,
You know what?
Okay.
Don't talk dick.
Too much.
Don't
okay.
talk.
Look, all we gotta say is happy Halloween and hope you have a happy
Horror
time. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Happy Horror Time.
This podcast is hosted by Matt Emmer and myself, Tim Murdoch. It's co-produced by Jacob Randall.
We release episodes every Monday, and each episode is either a review of new horror films or an interview with a horror star or insider. So there's something for everyone.
You can listen to the podcast directly from our website, www.happyhorrortime.com, or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you stream.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Happy Horror Time. We always post the movies we're going to review a few days in advance, so if you want, you can watch them before hearing our spoiler-filled reviews.
If you'd like to contact us directly, send an email to happyhorrortime@gmail.com.
And to support the podcast, please sign up to be a patron at www.patreon.com/happyhorrortime. Patrons get access to our monthly bonus episodes, our newsletter, autograph stickers, and get to vote in polls to pick the movies we're going to review. Best of all, if we get to 50 patrons, we're going to start releasing 2 bonus episodes per month versus 1. So tell a friend.
Yeah, I'm Tim Murdoch.
And I'm Matt Emmert, and we hope you have a happy horror time.